Hey guys, we have had a little bit of technical difficulty. Ali has not been able to show up. Rather, he tried, and he's having internet issues and location issues. So the topic that he picked was relevant because I thought I asked him and confirmed with him whether I should show up here and talk about it. The basic uh, headline for today is working out smarter for the day. Um, and forms, focusing on forms. Forms are extremely important. I'm not talking about like karate, katas for karate and whatnot, but I'm talking about the form of any given exercise that you're doing. Uh, so what we want to focus on is something that recently uh, Firaz Zahabi and Joe Rogan. Uh, it's not really a recent clip, but like it's recent enough for some people like me who usually don't end up watching hours and end of podcasts. Um, होता क्या है कि what Firaz Zahabi says is something that I agree with, and because that's something that I've also tried to follow through with for a very long time, especially with my short exposure to Gracie Jiu Jitsu in London way back when, but also through the Gracie University, where they say that you want to train for longevity. So you want to be able to train when you're in your 90s, when you're in your hundreds or whatever, rather than going too fast, too far, too fast right now and burning out before the age of 30 or before the age of 40. You'll see a lot of athletes burning out and retiring early because of injuries or because of working out too hard and not focusing enough on form and efficiency and consistency. Very simply, when you are uh, going hard at it every day and feeling sore every day because you went out like worked out extremely hard the day before, uh, that leads to a lot of fatigue. So when you're going crazy with your workouts and you're going extremely hard trying to do your personal bests every day, every time, every single workout, or even if it's like 3 or 4 times a week, depending on how hard you go. I mean, whether you can work out the next day or not, depending. I mean, you shouldn't be able. You should not go that out. You should not go that hard. You should not work out that hard. That just fatigues you, burns you out much faster, and you tend to fall off the fitness train much quicker and more frequently. And that's why it's important to work out smarter. It's important to be it's important to be aware, and it is important to have an idea of form. So and focus on form, right? What you want to do is, for example, instead of trying to do 1,000 push-ups a day with bad form, maybe do 100, 200, 250 with good form, and that and then be consistent with that. So if you're consistent, then you will have better efficiency, then you will also have better form. And as they say, perfect makes practice, but it's actually perfect practice that makes perfect, right? So it's not just it's not it, it practice makes perfect, yes, but perfect practice makes perfect. So, and that only comes when you're focused on uh, consistency. You train with consistency, and you improve your form. You get a personal trainer, you get a coach to look at your form, improve your form. Whether it's a push up or a burpee or a squat, if you do it with the correct form, it'll be more efficient in the sense that it'll give you better results, greater results than bad form. Bad form can also lead to injury, and that will then prevent your workout. That will prevent a lot more um, of your future workouts and a lot more of your potential from being developed for a lot longer. And that's something that most athletes don't want. A lot of athletes, although I mean they do try, especially हमारे यहाँ, right? हमारे यहाँ ज़्यादातर athletes का ये होता है बस I'm gonna go today and smash everyone at the gym, whether in weightlifting or whether if they're doing martial arts and if they're doing contact sports or whatever. I'm just gonna go today and I'm just gonna smash my opponents and whoever my opposing team is, or I'm gonna smash my workout, or I'm gonna smash the weights today, and I'm gonna be insanely dead tired. And by the time I get home, I'm just gonna fall dead asleep. Like I'll be asleep before I hit the bed, and I'm going to be sore tomorrow. And I love that sore feeling. A lot of people do get addicted to that feeling of soreness, but I think there's intensities of soreness, and that makes a difference because there is soreness that is very close to being hurt, actually, like very close to being injured, and then there is soreness that is just passing soreness, that is a lot less on the soreness scale, and that's basically just inflammation of joints or muscles that and they need the time to recover. But if you focus on form, you will feel sore, you will feel sore faster, you will fatigue faster, but you will also recover faster, so you won't be sore the next day. Or uh, if you do it correct, and I should say, and if you do it correctly, you are preventing injury, and you are building better habits, and of course that leads to better, that leads to perfect perfection, or and just for lack of a better description. Um, so form, right? So coming back to form, good form is basically being consistent with your movement, being being highly I'll say not just consistent, but like repeating, being precise, and being accurate, right? So it's not just precision, and it's not just accuracy, but it is both. So being precise and accurate leads to a greater consistency, and especially greater consistency of form, right? So greater consistency of form will help you work out smarter, and as a result, will give you better gains. Now, whether those gains are in stamina, endurance, bulking, shredding, uh, just strength building, or conditioning of like the cardiovascular system, improving your VO2 max, you can all, I mean, all of that can be said to come from good form and being consistent with your workouts. The example that Ali shared was in the last couple of podcasts was of burpees, and burpees are a great way, right? So burpees are great high intensity interval training workout. I mean, if you do it them in intervals, or they're just like super high intensity cardio. But at the same time, they do end up building muscle. They do end up engaging the largest muscle groups and the largest muscle trains or chains across the body, and it's a full body compound movement. And because it's a full body compound movement, it, it's one of the best. And your body itself will tell you when you get tired or when the form is deteriorating and going towards injury. That's why you take a break. You don't have to do 200 burpees in one go if you can't. I mean, you can take breaks. That's why they say, if, for example, if you're doing 100 burpees, you can break it up into doing uh, 4 sets of 25 or 5 sets of 20 or even 10 sets of 10. It's entirely up to you. But you need to be consistent with your workout. You need to uh, make sure that you don't miss out on any workouts. That's basically called falling off the train or falling off the wagon, or you know that isn't really good. Starting over every single time, starting just is starting while starting is a good thing, but starting over every single time is a bad habit to have, because that means you're quitting a lot, and quitting is never good, right? Winners never quit. Quitters never win, and winners never quit. So that all comes back to in a circle, back to working out smart, back to working out consistently, back to focusing on your form. I mean, if you focus on your form, if you do your push-ups correctly, just as an example, right? If you do your push-ups correctly, you might not even be able to do 50. You might not even be able or maybe if you can do 50, you might not be able to do 100 a day. Forget about doing 1,000. But if your form is bad, you can probably do like 2,000, 3,000 push-ups a day. But that's probably just going to lead towards bad movement habits, and basically in turn leading to injury. And that's not something that is conducive to an athlete and their performance and their lifestyle, right? That's not how it works. The form is extremely important, and it's see, if you work out in that manner, if you work out smart, if you take care of your form, if you are efficient with your form, if you're efficient with your workout, and that basically means that the next day you are probably not going to feel sore. So instead of doing one rep max every single day, which is a very bad idea, you do maybe 60 to 70%, you know, of your one rep max every day, and you do it every day. So whoever is doing, for example, their maximum number of pull-ups that they can possibly do um, ever, 2 or 3 times a week, or maybe even once a week. If somebody who can't really do pull-ups but decides can't really do good form pull-ups but decides that they're gonna do 100 or 200 pull-ups, next 2 3 days they're not gonna be doing anything. They're barely gonna be able to lift their arms. And on the other hand, somebody who was doing maybe 25 pull-ups a day, and in 4 days they've covered 100 pull-ups, and well, maybe they didn't even feel sore. So that builds up. It's what they say is it's a very uh, it's an English saying. It's also in other languages, and that's what it is like. So drop by drop, it becomes an ocean. So little by little by little by little becomes a lot. An example is trying to be 1% better every day, right? Now that too has um, that too 1% better every day has a very 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 small amount of improvement every day. If you try to improve maximally, your maximum improvement in the entire year, and you just manage to improve by 1% in the entire year. Or you can improve little by little, drop by drop, bit by bit every day, and at the end of the year, it's going to be a huge amount, right? I think it was right. So if you're improving 1% every day, and you're doing it every day, 365 days a year, then it's like you over the year you've probably improved something like 37.8%, or 37.8 times, almost something to that effect, right? I can't remember the exact uh, exact wording of it, but if on day one you were standing at one, and then you improve 1% better every day, that should lead you to 1 to the power 365. So that should be about 37 something times your initial input. But if you stay the same and you just try to improve once throughout the year, that's just once. Doesn't make a difference, right? So I think that is an example. It's an engineering example as well as a uh, generic example. Drop by drop, it becomes an ocean. All rivers fall into the ocean. 1% better every day, but it goes back to having good form, and working out smarter. You could do the same thing with our example of burpees. Bad form leads to injuries. You can have bad. You can injure your knee, your ankle. You can pull out your back. You can injure your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists. You name it. But if you have good form, you might not be able to do 100 burpees, but maybe you'll only do 10. But those 10 will be more effective than the 100 with bad form. Somebody who's doing them with bad form but doing 100 is probably going to have very little effect and impact, as opposed to somebody who did perfect form, 10, 15, maybe 20 burpees. They'll probably have a much better impact on their physiology, cardiovascular system, you name it. And that is how you can be 1% better every day. How is that relevant to that soreness feeling? Very simple. If you're if you're looking to improve 1% better every day, for example, you can lift 100 kilos without feeling sore. So what you're gonna try and do is make and the next day you're gonna try and lift 101, and then you're going to keep lifting 101 for the following days, until and unless, to the point where that 101 feels the same, gives you the same feeling as that as lifting that 100 did in the beginning. And when 101 becomes that easy, that means you've improved. It doesn't always come overnight. Some things you can improve 1% the next day. Some things may not have a direct result, but they may have an indirect result. Maybe it was a strength gain, or maybe it wasn't a direct quantitative strength gain. Maybe it was an indirect thing, something latent. Maybe it worked on your, I don't know, maybe it worked on your cardiovascular system. Maybe it worked on your VO2 max. Maybe it improved whatever that you were doing. Maybe that improved the oxygen carrying capacity of your hemoglobin, like hemoglobin efficiency, or whatever. There's a lot of things that can happen. Um, at no point do I claim to know all of it. I too am doing research, trying to research things, trying to read up on articles by sports medicine people specifically, but like also generally nutrition and uh, kinesiology and you name it. I mean, it's a matter of trying to improve on what we know and trying to learn the newest research and trying to keep up with the newest research and the newest results of all the scientific studies that are happening all over the world. I mean, okay, not all, but like as much as possible. And it's the job of a good athlete, let alone a good coach or a good trainer or a good instructor. But it's the job of the athlete to try and update their knowledge as much as possible to optimize their training. And that, obviously, that's a topic for a different time, but that helps improve form. That helps uh, become 1% better every day. That helps little by little, drop by drop, becomes an ocean. And that is what we want to do, right? At the end of the day, we want to improve our form to the point where, for example, like this is a hypothetical scenario altogether. Well, for example, one rep of whatever that exercise was becomes super efficient. uh, mm, Super efficient, yeah. That one rep of whatever that exercise was becomes very efficient or super efficient for um, as opposed to doing 1,000 reps. You know? A hypothetical example. I'm just like pulling numbers out of the thin air, but that's the idea, right? So your 100 push-ups, for example, with good form should be better than somebody who is doing 1,000 push-ups with bad form. I mean, I hope they don't get injured if they're doing it with bad form, but that's the spirit, right? And that is where form comes in. That is where consistency form and comes in. You need to be consistent with your form. You need to um, be consistent with good form. You need to be training with your mind open, with your eyes open. You need to be aware of what you're doing, which movement you're doing, how you're doing it, where it is coming from, where it is going, how it can be, how variations can be introduced. Because not everything is standardized, right? Some people may not be able to uh, some people may do. I mean, not everybody has the same freestyle in swimming. Some people perform better in the breaststroke or whatever, and some people perform better in freestyle. Some people perform better in grappling, and some people perform better in striking. Some people perform better in MMA rather than either one, striking or grappling. Um, so you need to be consistent with whatever you're good at. I mean, obviously, you want to work on your weaknesses. Weaknesses and strengths is also a topic for another time. But you want to be consistent. You want to keep working at it, and you want to work a high volume, and you also want to work. So when you work out smarter, you have a higher volume of working out, and you also work out for longer, right? So you have longevity built into your workout. You have longevity built into your performance. You have consistency. You have perfect form. So you have efficient workouts. You have efficient workouts. You have better gains. You have better gains. You get addicted to those results, and you tend to keep up with that activity much longer, whatever it is. I mean, if it is judo, great, awesome, like love it. If it is MMA, awesome, great. If it is hockey, awesome. I mean, it's entirely up to you. If it is football, entirely up to you. So form is essential. Form is also how you can improve. So going from bad form to good form, you can improve you can enhance, you can improve, you can raise the bar, you can improve that intensity of the workout, you can increase that intensity of the workout like 100-fold. Bad form to good form, 100, well, again, numbers out of thin air, but like significantly you can improve the intensity of a workout significantly. It's the same way that if you increase the length of a lever, or shorten the length of the lever in that particular exercise or movement, what's going to happen to the intensity of the movement, right? uh, for example, incline push-ups are easier than horizontal push-ups. Horizontal push-ups are easier than decline push-ups, right? And decline arm ups while resting on a wall rather than a bench, not so easy. For some people, they might be extremely easy for some people, but I haven't come across anybody who says decline arm ups are easy. But it's the form, right? So you do it in perfect form, you're consistent. That is where you're true to the form, right? When you're true to the form, when you're consistent to the form, you're working out smarter because your body will automatically tell you only how far it can go. You will start getting pain. You will start getting tired. You will start getting fatigued, and you will probably stop. I mean, unless of course you're like a little screw loose, but you will stop, and that you will also recover from early. So when you recover early, that means you will come back and do more of it more often than not. You will end up doing more. I mean, of course, it shouldn't be too low a number. For example, if you can do um, under threat of losing your life, if you can do 10 pull-ups and like you couldn't do the 11th one, no matter what, like even if it was if there was a fire lit under your feet and you or whatever, you know you couldn't do the 11th one. So if 10 is your max, you do, for example, you go down to again, for example, you go down to 5. So you do 5 every day rather than doing 10 one day and then just resting for the next 5 6 days. You do 5 every day, and that way you end up in the span of 5 days, or let's say 6 days, and you're doing 5 every day, you end up doing 30 rather than just 10. So that volume, that you also have longevity. So now you're doing the work for 6 days at a lower intensity, but at an intensity where the volume of work is now more than the volume of work on a single day with a super high intensity. And that is where form comes into play, and that is where consistency comes into play, because you need to then be uh, consistent with that workout, so that you can work out for long so that you can work out for a longer period, for a great number of days. Therefore you will have a greater volume of work, and if you have a greater volume of work with that perfect form, you will end up having a more efficient workout and a smarter workout, which will give better results, better gains. And that is the key. There's a lot of topics that we can talk about, working on strengths and weaknesses. There's a lot of other topics that can be brought into play here. Uh, Such as coaching, training, athlete mindset, sport specific workouts, non-sport specific workouts, functional fitness, functional strength training, um, how to remain functionally fit. Uh, there's a lot that can be said about all of these topics, but and we will discuss them. I mean, I'm sure Ali has a whole list, in sequence. But he did mention that I should uh, pop on here and talk about it. I talk a little bit about perfect form and working out smarter. I feel, and this is something that I think I've seen Henry Gracie and Huron Gracie discuss, uh, that if you want to train every day and come back every day, and you want to train into you know, up to your last few days, up to the end of your life, then you can't go hard, you can't go super crazy and smash every single day. Most people can't even smash 3 days a week or 4 days a week to keep that longevity. So you have to work little by little, step by step. Everything has an order, everything has a place. You have to work little by little, if perfect that form, you know, bit by bit. In the case of the rabbit and the hare, the rabbit went hard and fast, but had to stop and rest. But the hare, sorry, yeah, the rabbit and the turtle, sorry, not the rabbit and the hare, the rabbit and the turtle, right? So the rabbit had to went fast, got to a point, and decided to rest. Obviously, in the story, the rabbit decided to rest. In reality, the rabbit has to rest, right, before he can recharge and go again. Turtle, on the other hand, slow and steady, just kept on going bit by bit, step by step. One person better every day, drop by drop makes an ocean. Perfect form, working out smarter, and in the end, the turtle or tortoise, depending on the region you're from, won the race, right? And the rabbit had a hard time catching up, because once the rabbit had recharged and woken up, he saw that the turtle was already at the finish line and had to rush again. And then, obviously, we don't get to the we don't hear this after the end of the story, but once the rabbit gets to the end, I mean, I'm just speculating here, but probably needs another or another few hours of rest. So that's, although that is regular, but that is not very that's not very smart. In the long run, that is a lower volume of work as opposed to the turtle. One step at a time, one step at a time, the turtle won the race. And in the long run, the turtle would keep winning, because the rabbit would progressively try to dash harder, faster, and then get more tired, uh, more and more tired, and therefore require a longer and longer break, so that they could rest longer and longer. And where do you go with that? Where you end up to leading to a burnout, right? So that's what we want to prevent. I mean, if if you love something, you want to keep doing it for as long as possible, rather than uh, burning out and finishing off early. So improving form, right? And that is why in a lot of, for example, grappling arts, I've heard this in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've also heard this in Judo, actually. And grappling, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Well, how does that link? Simple. So do it slowly, so that you can perfect the form, so that you can work out smarter. So it's drop by drop becomes an ocean. One person better every day, and it's like in our region here, it's like there's a mindset of, I'll just go in and smash the coach and just prove that I am a fighter, and that's it on day one. And that's not how it works. You really have to work at it. I mean, of course, you could be naturally gifted, and the coach could be really stupid, and or maybe just like not really a certified instructor, or whatever, trainer, instructor, coach, whatever. But that's how you do it. You come to class, you get better by improving your form. You have a good form, you consistently show up to class, you're regular, you keep improving your form. That is how you work out smarter. You work out smarter, you get more gains. And gains don't necessarily have to be visible. I mean, it could be better mindset. It could literally be, the gain could be just better mindset. It could all be in your mind. The gain could be better mind over matter control. The in the sense that your uh, brain, your mind has more control over your body, and your body does what your mind tells it to do, so it doesn't quit before you're done, right? Of course, there are aspects of mental grit and mental attitude, uh, and resilience. Again, topics for a different time. But for the moment, it's about form, right? So you should be able to visualize it. If I mean, as a basic, you should be able to visualize. If you're visualizing well, if you're visualizing the perfect form, if you're visualizing yourself doing the perfect form, then it's more likely that you will, when you carry out that movement, that exercise, whatever it is, you will do it perfectly. Calligraphy, you need to visualize it. You need to visualize what you're drawing in calligraphy, and then you're and then you follow it, right? Rather than you just haphazardly draw something and just call it calligraphy. That doesn't work. Calligraphy takes a lot of patience, a lot of, it's slow and steady, slow and steady, slow and steady, drop by drop, 1% better every day, perfect form, slow and steady leads, slow and steady leading to perfect form leading to better gains, better results, leading to working out smarter. Not everything needs to be rushed. You don't need to always feel sore after your workout, there obviously there needs to be periodization. So for example, if you have, for example, a competition, if you have competition every quarter, so you train harder closer to the competition. Again, that's a different thing. Periodization is something that we can talk about at a different time. Obviously, I'm throwing out so many topics, guys, but and that we can talk about, but it all comes down to being consistent and being uh, doing your exercise or workout or movement, sport specific movement, or non-sport specific movement. I mean, if you just want to go horse riding, you need to be good in your in the way that you ride the horse, uh, to have uh, a better ride, to have a smoother ride. Message from Ali that he hasn't been able to make it. Uh, he's still having some technical issues. But yeah, so that's the story, right? Um, so that's where form and consistency and working out smarter come in. Uh, that's what we got to do, right? But periodization, developing programs, and all of those. I mean, we will talk about all of those, but for the moment, what we want to focus on is improving your form so that you have, bit by bit by bit by bit, step by step. You can't, like, consistency goes hand in hand with form, goes hand in hand with regular attendance, goes hand in hand with your performance, goes hand in hand with so many things. All of this is interconnected. Periodization, you name it, right? And there's like nutritional things, nutrition, rest, uh, all of that is interlinked, and that all of it has everything. There's a way to do everything, and if you do the thing, if you do things the way that they're meant to be done, perfect form, right? If you do the things the way that they're meant to be done, you are inevitably uh, being smart about how you're whatever you're doing. And if you're being smart about whatever you're doing, and if you do it the way that it is meant to be done, then you are going to have better results. I mean, I couldn't generalize it any more than that, right? But that's all from me from now. I mean, I've ranted at you guys for the last 40 minutes. I think that's a long enough rant on form and perfect form and working out smarter. But that's how it is. I was hoping Ali would be able to make it, but not today. Maybe hopefully we'll catch him next week, or whenever he does the next podcast. But I'll see you guys next time with more information for you guys on how to work out better and how to keep how to maintain your gains. Alright, guys, take care. See you soon.